Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host Alexander Turbin. Today we're going to be going over The Conjuring, The Lover, number 5 of 5 from DC Comics. But before we get into that, I'd like to show you some of my own stuff. This is the newest Mutandis. You can get this at alexanderturbin.com. It's number 6. And because I've redone all of the numbering for Mutandis and everything is back to where it was, the number 1 Mutandis Regeneratus was an aberration. So we've got 6 and we've got 4, and this is actually 5, and we've got 3 and 2 and 1. So these are your Mutandises that you can check out at alexanderturbin.com, like I said. And it's in the newest one is all in newsprint, and all of the special stuff that I print from now on will all be newsprint. The regular random accesses, which you can get at also at alexanderturbin.com, but that's primarily also you can get that at Patreon / alexturbin.com or alexanderturbin.com. I can't remember which one it is. But this is the newest one. Random access number 24. I don't know why I don't have the number on there. But this is random access number 24 and my first wraparound cover. And this is this is actually a reprint from the People of Vandor, which was a daily strip that I did on Instagram last year or so, and with backup stories by Christopher Knox and Paul Courtjohn. So now that we're done with the unabashed display of trying to get you to buy my comic books, let's talk about The Conjuring, The Lover. So it was part of the DC Horror Presents stuff. I'm not a big DC guy. Pretty much I liked Vertigo, and I liked Vertigo when it started, but then it kind of blossomed into this whole other thing, and I kind of stopped getting comics. I haven't gotten really comics on a weekly basis for quite a while, like 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 years. Really, I say this to everybody that I meet, and anybody that will listen, they're just too goddamn expensive. You can still make a comic like this for dirt cheap. Like this is only 12 pages, but you could make a 24 page comic like this with newsprint, with a glossy cover for dirt cheap. It doesn't have to be this special paper and all that stuff. I think if you made if you redid X-Men number 1 and it was in newsprint and it you would just sell a gosh ton of them. But anyway, that's my little rant. Comics are too expensive, and that's that. I mean, there's also a lot of other hurdles for the comic book industry, but I think the biggest one is that they're simply too expensive for what you're getting, and not the quality of the art and writing, but just the product itself. You could go out and you can buy a movie for $5, less than $5. So why would you go out and buy a comic book for $5 that you're going to spend less time with, even though you'll have it? I don't know. It's a big debate, and I really just wish people would DC and Marvel would have some cheaper comics that were on newsprint. And I fully think that you guys all agree with me. I mean, there might be a few of you that don't agree, but I really doubt it. I really think that if there were cheaper comics, they would sell more of them, and they would have a lot more leeway with doing different stuff. So let's get back to The Conjuring, The Lover. I just go off on these tangents and I can't help it. The Conjuring is my very favorite horror movie series. I like the first one the most, and then they kind of get worse and worse and worse, as with everything. It's that other one is also my favorite. It's tied for my favorite with the I can't remember what it is. It's the same creators that did The Conjuring, though. My favorite part of The Conjuring, though, is not the scariness or horror stuff, because I'm not really a horror guy. And I do have other favorites that some people can think is horror or feel is horror. Like Hellraiser's if I consider them horror, would be my favorite horror movies. But I simply consider them sci-fi because Cenobites, as awesome and cool as they are, they're not horror characters. They're sci-fi characters, a dark sci-fi, sure, but as far as I'm concerned, they're not horror. Same thing with um, the Illusionist. That's probably would be my number one favorite horror movie. Again, if I thought it was horror, but I don't think it. I think that's more a dark fantasy, a dark something like that. But anyway, so my favorite movies, my favorite specific horror movies are The Conjuring, and the only reason they're my favorites is because of the actors and the characters of Ed and Lorraine Warren. They were real people, and that adds to a certain amount of realism and stuff to their characters and stuff. I really love the actors that portray both of them, and I mean the first story was really pretty cool. I just wanted more of the doll, though. I wanted more of the evil doll, and I just want a confrontation between Ed and Lorraine and the evil doll, and it hasn't really come yet, has it? But so the other movies, like I said, they kind of just wishy-washy away, and I really wasn't into them. But the first one I really enjoy. I really enjoy the demonology aspect of it, and the psychic aspect and stuff like that. And I mean, there's other parts of the other movies that I really enjoy, but the first one is something that I really love. Let me know if what you guys think, what your favorite horror movie is, and if The Conjuring is up there in your favorite horror movie numbers. So let's get into this. It's written by Jason Mulderick, Oleg Brown, Stanton, Spicer, and Conniff. Those are the writers and artists, but I'll get back into them. We're gonna not, like I said, when I do DC and Marvel, really, I don't like to do the what I usually do of go through the story and kind of track back and talk about the art and the writing and stuff. Because if you're a professional artist, writer, then I think you have a certain amount of quality standard. And if this book really is horrible, then I'll kind of address that issue. But I think that it just goes along with saying that I kind of enjoy the art and I kind of enjoy the writing, because if it's a professional quality, then that's it. If I reviewed just Marvel and DC stuff, it would be completely different. But I'm also talking about all of the indie stuff and black and white stuff and stuff that is not done by complete professionals, but semi-professional or even amateur or stuff like that. So I mean, you kind of have to grade on a curve here, and so I'm not going to talk about this in the same way that I do like a Bloodwing or some kind of Eternity or adventure comic. It's just, it's a little, they're kind of two different things. If you disagree with me, let me know. Let me know your thoughts on that. I really would like your guys' opinions on that aspect. If I should be like, well, it should all be graded the same in my review part, then let me know that. Anyway, let's get to the story and we'll talk about the art. It starts off, I thought that I was going to miss a whole bunch of stuff because this is number 5 of 5. But I'm thinking that this is an anthology because there's actually 2 stories in here, which I do not understand. I do not understand that. Anthologies are great. They're fantastic. But when you've got a horror story and you've got this so much time and space with this full book, why didn't they just break them into 2 different books? If like... So many anthologies are out there by indie comics creators because that's how they can get their art out there in a specific time that they can do it. A lot of people don't have the time to do 10, 15 pages, 20 pages a month or whatever. They have regular jobs. They have regular lives, so just doing a 2 or 3 pages in an anthology is really kind of a big deal for a lot of artists. Whereas this kind of thing, they're paying these artists to do these. These are professional people that are working. This is their job. So if this is your job, you should be doing a full comic and this should have been a full comic, and I don't know why it's an anthology. And that's probably one of my biggest grievances with this comic, because as you may have inferred, I do have some grievances with this comic. It's not with the art and the writing. The art and the writing are fine, but it's simply not enough time to care about the characters or get into the characters or anything like that. That's one of the biggest drawbacks of an anthology, is that you get a few pages to try to learn about a character and what their likes, what their dislikes, everything like that, their whole personality, and it's very difficult to do. And they did not need to do that whatsoever. They could have made 2 different books, 3 different books, 4 different books for each thing. The Conjuring is a pretty big IP. People are going to buy it. I'm sure people bought this. Maybe not X-Men #1 or Spawn #1 kind of numbers, but you've got that whole fan base of horror books or horror fans, and they're going to buy The Conjuring if you put it out there. So you don't have to make this anthology stuff, and it doesn't really make any sense. So let's get into the story. I've said it a couple times, but we're going to really do it. It's this girl, and standing above her is this other girl who's holding a knife, or the knife is falling from her hand, and there's blood everywhere. So she's killed her, and through these sound bites and panel bites, you can tell that she's being risen from the dead somehow. We don't know how, and the lettering and the whole red eyes and everything makes you realize that she's coming back from the dead. Art wise, I really like this page. I really like the layout and the way the panels come along, and it really tells a really great amount of information and story in this one page. As for the art, I like it. It's a modern art type of style, and I don't know how much I love the modern art type of style. It's very loose. I don't know if anybody else has kind of noticed how a lot of people kind of draw the same way, where it's more like it's less comic book artists and more artsy artists. So kind of comic books have turned into this artsy artist thing where these people from art schools can kind of use their all of their knowledge, which it's not bad. I'm not going to say it's bad, but it kind of looks all the same. I'm going to go to the comic book store sometime, maybe next week or something like that, because I haven't been to my LCS in a while, and I'm going to try to get some new stuff to review of old stuff, old black and whites and stuff. But I'm also going to get some of the newer stuff, and I'm going to compare and contrast some of the newer styles. And it's not just that, when a big artist comes on the scene, like Ed McGuinness. Ed McGuinness came on the scene, then soon after that, like a year later or whatever, there's like 15 artists that are drawing just like Ed McGuinness, or Joe Madureira. He's a huge one, because that's probably where Ed McGuinness got his biggest influences from. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that to have an influence of an artist and then kind of look like that artist. We all go through that, and then we kind of evolve and change and get our own style. But this is an artsy style that is not evolving or not changing. It just kind of is what it is. And let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm just going off on this horrible tangent and you disagree completely. It's modern comic books. We're going to get into that, delve into that further. I don't know if you guys saw I did the Turbo Pit Fighter weekly show with those guys, and we were talking about art and how their art is very detailed and minute and stuff like that. And we were trying to decide if they would have the time and the patience, or not so much the patience, I don't know what you would call it, but their stuff is so detailed. Could they do a less detailed other pages for an anthology? That was kind of what we're going at. And we kind of got into just a little bit of this huger, broader aspect of art. And because Kurt was like, my stuff often looks unfinished. And he's right. A lot of my stuff does look very unfinished, but it's also which is one of the things that I really wanted to get into with them, and hopefully we will. it's a how much how much detail do you need in a certain thing in order for you to think it's quality art. There's simplistic artists, there's super detailed artists, there's everything in between. So if you look at a super detailed artist, yeah, it's easy to say, oh, that's really wonderful and that's fantastic. But if you look at a simplistic artist, I'm going to say Mobius, when he's got these two different styles. He's got this super intricate, detailed style, but he also has this really super simple, not a lot of detail style. And frankly, I like the non-detailed style a lot better. A lot of artists go from super detailed to less detailed because they learn that in their creative years, in their creative process, that you don't need all of the detail in order to really show what you're trying to express, either emotional wise or whatever it is. It's like drawing a brick wall. Do you need every brick in that brick wall? Or can you kind of have hints of where the brick wall is? Like I said, it's a bigger discussion, and we will definitely get more into that. And I'm going to have whole videos dedicated pretty much to that aspect, because it's a big subject for me, and I really want to explore it further. So let's get back to the book. So she killed a person. We don't know who it is to this killer. I kind of thought that in the previous issues something had happened, because I just read this. I had never read this before. This is something I picked up maybe a few months ago or last year or something, just for Halloween or October reviewing. But so I figured that there was more going on, but really there isn't, because she rises up from the dead. She starts attacking Jessica. It's Jessica and Katie. Katie is this one. Jessica is this girl. She attacks her, or she goes after her or whatever, and chases her, and she's running through the woods, and she's like, Katie is kind of just talking about why did you do this and stuff like that. And then they come to a cliff, which is very convenient. It's almost Ghost in the Machine kind of stuff. But Katie stops, or Jessica stops, and then it goes to this thing. I hate this. This is so much unused black lettering. This is 2 pages you could have used in the story. I know it's great for thematic purposes, and I have a whole video on the X-Men and Jonathan Hickman's run on the X-Men, and he does this, only it's like all spread out through the issue, and there's like 10 pages of real art and story, and there's all of this other stuff that's like nonsense that you don't really need. And all of this stuff, sure, it's like a movie. It's like, bam, The Conjuring, The Lover, number 5, bam, it's a title. Awesome, great. And then this huge lettering is all of the artists and stuff. Why not have them in the very beginning or whatever, here, something, and then, you could have added 2 pages. I'm really kind of disappointed by this whole aspect of it. It's just a poor use of page count as far as I'm concerned. I really don't like that. You've got this great page here. I really like having the location spread out throughout the whole page, and then having panels kind of interspersed here. I really like the way that this guy lays out the panel. Speaking of that, who is this guy? Written by David L. Johnson, McGoldrick, and Rex Ogle. Are they on the cover? Yep. So that's who the writer is. And then artist is Gary Brown, and colors by Mike Spicer, and letters by Becca Carey. The illustration is by Bill Sienkiewicz, and the variant is by Ryan Brown. We don't know about this. Bill Sienkiewicz is like top 3, top 5 comic favorite artist, comic book or otherwise, for me. I love his stuff. He is one of the greatest artists of all time. This does not look like a Sienkiewicz cover to me. It's got his kind of weird stylish, but it's just, it doesn't read as Sienkiewicz to me. I'm not going to say it's hack work or whatever, but it's just, it leaves me a little bit a little bit let down, I guess. A little bit let down. I didn't really love this cover, but nobody's perfect. He's still one of my favorite artists of all time. So I love the layout. I love the panels. I love how they're disjointed because I mean this is a horror comic and it should be disjointed. I don't like the posturing of this creature. It looks very Raggedy Annish, and she's kind of going like that, and it's not scary to me. I know they're trying to go for that old kind of thing, and whereas what am I trying to think of? Where just the bones are cracking and mishmash and all that stuff, and I understand what they're going for. I'm not into it. Sure, she's scary, but especially she's not scary because she's talking so much. Like she doesn't shut up. Like this whole time she's talking about why did you do it? Are you afraid of yourself? Are you? And this is where we learn, I think, that the two girls were gay. And she's like, could you not handle being gay? Could you not handle being your lover? And I am totally fine with the storyline of them being gay. Both stories are pretty much a discussion about lesbianism, I guess, or something like that, which is totally fine. I'm cool with gay people, lesbians, and all that stuff. And the whole Comic Gate thing, I'm definitely against the bad guys in Comic Gate. But anyway, the bad guy doesn't shut up, so that's kind of stupid. It not so much stupid, it makes it less scary. It's just like in House when the bad guy is talking the whole time and he's like, you're pissing me off, Roger. It makes it not scary. When the villain or character is talking all the time, loses its intensity, loses its fear factor. You don't see Jason talking all that much, although Freddy doesn't shut up, and that makes him that he loses his fear factor for that too. For me anyway. Let me know what you guys think of if a villain or bad guy of this type, a horror bad guy villain, talks a lot, then are they less scary? I think they are. It's like Negan. Negan is less scary because he doesn't shut up. But anyway, then Jessica is talking about, she's like, no, you're wrong. It's not like that. I loved Katie. I wanted to be with her. And then they have a nice flashback. This is when I got clued in that this is a self-contained story and it has nothing to do with the previous four comics. So if anybody has read The Conjuring, 1 through 4, please let me know if there's anything of merit in those comics and if they're good or whatever. And it's Ed and Lorraine in it, because as far as I'm concerned, if there's no Ed and there's no Lorraine, it's not The Conjuring. And there's no Ed or Lorraine in any of these books. And please let me know if there's any of Ed or Lorraine in 1 through 4 if you've read these books, because to me this isn't The Conjuring. This is just some kind of horror story that has nothing to do with The Conjuring or anything like that. But regardless, they kind of have a flashback, very nice flashback, because you've got all of this darkness, this dark, crazy stuff going on, and then it's bright light. So you don't have to say 20 years, 10 years later, 5 years later, 3 years later, whatever. It just kind of goes into this nice bright flashback, and there's no panel borders. It's all just a montage of different characters and stuff like that. And they're just kind of talking about how Katie and Jessica kind of were inseparable. They met each other and they were inseparable. They spent the date nights over at each other's houses, but they were hesitant to kind of show each other how they felt about each other, and which would be a very difficult spot to be in. I don't know if if you can relate as a hetero person, if you ever had like a girl that you really wanted to be with, but she was you were in the friend zone. That's pretty much how I take this, where Katie and Jessica were in the friend zone because they couldn't confront their own sexuality. So they do kind of have a little bit of stuff going on when they're kind of almost telling each other how they feel, but then Katie's about to go to no Jessica is about to go off to college, and I like this one. This picture here. This is the dad or the mom. I can't even really tell. But he's pissed off. She's pissed off. She's ready to go, and Katie and Jessica, they want to spend as much time together. I've been in this spot. Where we're moving the kids to another state for them to go to college, and it's a super hyper stressful time, and you just want to get it over with, kind of, and you want to get on the road, you want to get going, and you want to get home and all that stuff. So he's pissed, she's pissed, whatever's pissed, and I understand it 100%. Don't understand this. Why is there a little Katie here? Oh, okay. Now I understand. I thought this was the exhaust from the car, but it's not this car. It's this little baby car. That doesn't work very well. You don't need that at all. Don't need it at all. You could have just had this here, maybe, where she's looking down or sad or something, and then you have this panel here. So that they never had any kind of conclusion to their relationship, and then something happened, and Katie killed Jessica, or Jessica killed Katie, and so the evil creature that's taking over Katie's body is like, you were in love, I'm dead now, remember, you stabbed me 22 times. We're all assuming that this creature got into Jessica's mind, or Katie, I cannot keep these two people straight, into her mind, and she made her think that this was an evil creature or something like that, and that's why she stabbed her, when in fact it was an evil creature. I do like the ink work. I like a lot of the ink work. It's kind of very simplistic, but it shows the point. And really, the whole thing is very kind of simplistic. It's not a lot of detail, but it's really it shows exactly what kind of emotions they're trying to convey. It's a lot of this stuff I like a lot. I like a lot of the little scritch kind of patterns or whatever, where they're using the detail of the shading and the shadowing and all that kind of stuff. I really like the line work and the detail here for all of their art too. It's really really pretty cool. It's harder to see in the darker spots it's a lot easier to see in the lighter spots. Looks a little bit like Neil Adams' work. So maybe he's an influence on this artist. So you've got the creature, and they're up against the cliff or whatever, and they're just kind of going back and forth as to why Katie killed Jessica, or why Jessica killed Katie, whichever, I don't know. And then this creature keeps talking and talking and talking about how she couldn't accept that she was a lesbian, and she wanted to end both of their lives because she'd rather them be together in death, and blah, blah, blah. And there's only one way for her to kind of come to fruition with the story. And so she jumps off the cliff and splashes into the water. Apparently she's dead. And then this, I don't know, is this supposed to be the nun? Is this supposed to be an evil creature, an evil demon? Is it a demon or creature that we met in the previous issues and I don't know about because I don't have 1 through 4? I wish they had said who this was. I can't tell if it's a male or female. And he just says, "Thank you, Jessica." That's the end of the story. I think they don't say that it's a new story. Oh no. Yeah. And then they go through this sacrificial thing. So this is still part of the story, and it's a goat being slaughtered and sacrificed, and the lover is dead. The child is next. I kind of wish I knew what was going on with this, but it really is such a jolt from this first storyline that I'm really not all that interested. One of the things about this is that I'm really not interested because, like I said, the Ed and Lorraine aspect is completely gone. So none of the characters are anyone that I really am into. So what is this? Conjuring Universe goodies? Is this a real thing? Um, what are you going to ask for your next birthday? I don't think this is a real thing. I think this is a fake thing, a fake dollhouse, a fake scooter, nun riding a scooter, nun bike horn, Conjuring Universe 8-inch action figures. Those might be real. That is weird. Can anyone tell me if that's real or fake? It looks fake to me, but oh, not a real ad. Don't send money. So that's kind of funny. Has no place in the Conjuring comic. Has no place in the Conjuring universe. Why they would ever add that? This book doesn't have enough content to fill their comic, so that's why they're adding all of this superfluous kind of huge stuff. That makes me so horribly sad. There's artists and writers out there screaming to have their work shown and their work looked at and seen by a wider audience, and they use this garbage to use up space that isn't needed and completely inappropriate. This isn't Evil Dead. If this was the Evil Dead, maybe yeah, that belongs there. But this is The Conjuring. Conjuring is not funny. The Conjuring is not it's not campy at all. And then this adds the camp. And why? That really, I hadn't realized that before. I think I glossed over it, thinking that it's just an advertisement. And now that just kind of pisses me off. So that's really makes me angry. Anyway, this video has already gone a little bit too long. And the second story is basically more of the same kind of thing where this one girl is infatuated with her teacher or something or whatever, and then ends up killing her and stabbing her, and more of this stuff. That really pisses me off. I don't think I've ever been this angry at a comic book other than the Jonathan Hickman X-Men comic that I was talking about. So yeah, that just knocked this down to a 4. Cover, not Bill Sienkiewicz's greatest work. If this really looked like a Sienkiewicz cover to me, and he really had done everything he could, that might have bumped it up to a 5 or a 6. But I'm really not loving the cover, and the story left me flat. Didn't really care about the characters. It has nothing to do with the lesbianism or whatever. It's just didn't really enjoy the story, and the final page of the fake advertisement is just the worst thing in the whole world to add that to a Conjuring comic book. There's no Ed and Lorraine, so I'm not going to buy The Conjuring. That's not true. If I do see The Conjuring 1 through 4 in the comic book store, in the dollar bin, in the quarter bin, I might get it. Other than that, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to look for it ever. I'm really kind of disgusted by it, and I'm going to give this book a 4. The artists and writers are perfectly capable, and I'm sure, if I really looked at it, I might enjoy the art and the writing a little bit more. But it's nothing that really jumps out at me, and doesn't make me love it. So yeah, the review score for this and The Conjuring the Lover, I looked it up, is like $3 or $4. It's not anything expensive on eBay or whatever. So yeah, if you guys have read this, let me know what you think, and if you like The Conjuring, let me know why you like The Conjuring. Is it Ed and Lorraine like me, or is it just say you like the movies? So anyway, if you guys like this kind of content and you're new to the channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button, and also the notification button. And if you like this kind of content, please leave a thumbs up. I really appreciate that, and let me know what you guys think. I really love hearing your guys' comments about stuff. So again, Conjuring the Lover gets a 4 from me, and I didn't love it. So have a great day, and thanks for watching, and keep on creating.